Hi viewers, welcome back to the brainstorm. Now I want to ask, how is your relationship? Is it going well? Is it under kick and starts and fits and starts? Is there anything you can do about it if it is not working well? So let's talk about domestic conflict and how we can handle it so that we can live in peace with our partners. Now let us look at now the common causes of domestic conflict. You and I have been watching the news, listen to news, go on internet and all that. We realize that financial issues is one of the major, or I would say the common causes of domestic conflict. What about these financial issues? It could be the income, the pattern of expenditure, the responsibilities, as well as the habits we have in spending any money that comes in the form of paycheck or proceeds from our businesses. So financial issue is one of the major causes of domestic conflict. And so we have to watch out. Another very common cause of domestic conflict is poor communication. How do you communicate with your partner? Studies have shown that, poor communication of your thoughts, poor communication of feelings, poor communication of needs, all may lead to domestic conflict. What about your personality? Some people are extroverts, some are introverts, and some are ambiverts. That is introvert and extrovert. So we realize that, some people who are extroverts and are in a relationship with introverts, that there's always a conflict. And it could be the other way around. And again, we have also seen that some introverts also enjoy the partnership with fellow introverts. So that is the reason that courtship is very important. During this time, you get to know each other so that if you are not compatible, whatever you find in the other person that may lead to constant conflict and things that would always distract your progress, you now make a decision before it becomes too late. Infidelity. There's no reason to overflow this particular topic, infidelity. Studies have shown that a lot of relationships, come to an end because of infidelity. What does this do? Infidelity leads to breach of trust. And once you lose trust of your partner, you will have to work very, very hard to regain that trust. So infidelity is one of the causes of domestic conflict. Now, another cause of domestic conflict is differences in priorities. You are in a relationship, but you have differences in priorities. Your goals are different, your values are different. This is bound to cause conflict in that relationship. This is bound to cause a kind of, because you do not want to have different goals while you are a unit. A house that fights among itself cannot stand. And so that is why you have to work together to have a common goal. Now, another very common cause of domestic conflict is substance use. Some people used to say substance abuse, but it's substance use. Because once it is a substance, it should not be used in the sense of that classification. Now, sometimes people indulge in these things for that false sense of well-being, that sense of euphoria. They think they are in cloud nine. Once this substance erodes or wears away, they go back to the status quo. And then they will crave to have it more in order to be in that false sense of well-being. And over time, their body becomes tolerant to all this, and they begin to increase the quantity. Before you know it, it kind of makes you begin to act weird, in the relationship or in the family. Another very common cause of domestic conflict is lack of time. Sometimes people are too busy to recognize their partners. They are too busy to give time to that relationship. What does this lead to? It leads to feeling of isolation, a feeling of neglect. Your partner feels disconnected in that relationship. And so it is a common cause of conflict. And sometimes when this disconnection and isolation, is unbearable, your partner begins to communicate with her friends outside. The friends may not be opposite gender. It may be of the same gender, but your partner begins to give attention, to friends outside. And then what comes there? It leads to jealousy and insecurity. And this aggravates the conflict in that relationship. Now, another very common cause of domestic conflict is parenting styles. You may have, one of the parents is high-handed, or I would say authoritarian. The other one is laissez-faire, doesn't care. And so, you see, one is, I would say, strict, a disciplinarian, and the other one is anything goes. And so it's bound to cause, disagreement in the household on how to raise these children. And that can lead to, conflict in the family. Another very important and common cause of domestic conflict is a turbulent upbringing. People are not raised in the same environment. You may have a partner who was raised in a very turbulent situation where fisticuffs was the order of the day, where disagreement and conflict was seen as normal. And so these people, when they go into relationships, their normal is the regular abnormal. And so, again, it will cause conflict in a family because your partner is not used to turbulence as the norm. Another very common cause of domestic conflict is having unresolved issues. When issues are not resolved as they should, it lingers, it accumulates, it kind of adds to another unresolved issue, and over time, it becomes a problem. Now, how do we deal with this? How do we deal with domestic conflict? The first thing is an open communication. There should be an open communication between partners. where honesty and sincerity is the order of the day. You should be able to define the problem. What is this problem that we have? And you should be able to practice active listening. Listen to others, not listening for listening's sake. Listen to understand the other from the viewpoint of the other. So when there is an open communication, an active listening ear, and you define that problem, that is the beginning point. And now there are so many strategies that we can employ when we are trying to resolve conflict in the family, or yes, among friends and all that. One of the very important strategies is compromise. We should be able to compromise. When I say compromise here, it means we should be able to shift grounds. Husband, wife, in whatever relationship you are, you should be able to move from your point of, you should be able to concede something and the other partner too. So when you move grounds, you are compromising. It's a win-win situation because you want to meet at the middle point. You want to meet at the acceptable point. And I always say this during my interaction with clients or, friends and all that. I say, if you are not ready to compromise, do not go into any relationship. Because it means if you have 100% autonomy, you have to let go 50 in order to accommodate your partner. So you let go 50, your partner lets go 50, and you guys meet. 50-50 now makes 100. So compromise is one of the best ways to resolve conflict in the family, among friends, or in a relationship because it is a win-win situation. Another strategy is avoidance. Now, avoidance is good because, it can be used as a strategy for minor conflict. You kind of avoid. But avoidance is not good in major conflict. And avoidance is not the best of strategies because when you avoid, over time, it accumulates so much and there could be an explosion of emotion because there is a limit to even an elastic. So you cannot avoid throughout your lifetime. So there's bound to be, there would be a point that you would not be able to avoid, and the accumulation can cause explosion. Another strategy is collaboration. Collaboration as a strategy to domestic conflict resolution is very important when you guys now identify the problem and you two of you work towards solving that problem. You collaborate. You say, okay, how do we tackle this? Let's say it's a financial problem. You earn $50, your partner earns $50, and $100 is not enough for you guys. And there's a problem. And you say, okay, how do we tackle this problem? You say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let us look for a business. Let us look for another business that, we can use to make more money in order to save the family. And so you collaborate in order to tackle the problem that you have. And when you tackle this problem, the end result is that the family will benefit from it. Right. What is another way of resolving conflict? Another very important way of resolving conflict is by confrontation. What do you do here? You do not confront, very important, you do not confront your partner. You confront the issue. You confront the problem. And so the two of you confront the issue and there would be a resolution. Accommodation is another one. When there is a problem. One partner might elect to accommodate the other. Now, this is when the issue is very minor and you see the other partner, you see the shortcomings, and say, okay, I will accommodate in order for peace to reign. Now, when you practice all this and it doesn't work, then you move to another strategy now, which is mediation. Mediation is when you now bring in a third party. It could be a marriage counselor, a relationship counselor, could be your pastor, could be your imam, could be your rabbi, could be the head of families, could be anybody that you trust can be impartial in mediating the conflict. But before you bring in mediation, in your relationship, you should try other strategies. And if those strategies do not work, that is when you bring in a third party. But if there is an open communication, a sincere identification of the problem, an active listening ear, and a good strategy like compromise, your problem or conflict might be solved without a third party.